I've got loads of crap I could talk about.
Yeah,
at the moment I think bodybuilding's the biggest sort of craze out there for young people, and everyone's trying to do their chest 3 or 4 times a week and stuff. But if you overtrain it, then you're never going to give the time to muscles for recovery and repair. So you need to, it is so important that you split your routines. Say like on a Monday and a Tuesday, train your upper body, and then either have Wednesday off or train your legs, so your body's getting that extra 24 hours of recovery up top. If you try and hit your chest or your arms, you know, so forth, every 2-3 days, you're never going to be fully, the muscle's never going to fully recover in order to grow.
How long are your training sessions? Are you training 5-6 days a week, but how long are the training sessions?
I'd say about an hour and 15 minutes is an hour and a half, properly, and an hour and a half of like pure training. I mean, I don't think if you're in the zone and you're going full out, you shouldn't be able to train for say more than an hour and a half. I know some people train a lot longer, but I'm talking, you know, at the highest capacity you can train, an hour and a half I think is way more enough, because then you start need to get some food in you, need to get your protein in you, and you don't want to start using muscle as fuel. If you go too long without food, then you start actually decreasing.
You, when you were training more strength training recently for like the 6 weeks, were you still training an hour and a half, or were you training sessions shorter?
Yeah, even though it was strength training, it was only one really specific exercise. So I was doing 2 or 3 good warm-up sets, and then I was pyramiding up and then pyramiding back down, and then I'll do a lot of hypertrophy in that session as well. It wasn't purely a whole strength session, so I wasn't doing, for instance on my chest I was pressing heavy, but I wouldn't fly heavy, because I think there's a lot of room for tearing muscles and stuff, so you've got to actually pick the best muscle part for that body and the best maneuver. So for back it would be like a heavy row. I wouldn't suggest doing, you know, your straight arm pulleys, what we're doing now, as your heavy, because form's out of the window and stuff like that. So you need to pick a representative body part that actually shows the strength in that movement. So shoulders would be a big shoulder press, not so much a lateral raise. Squats instead of legs, instead of, you know, like leg extensions. So you want to pick quite a powerful movement to really get that strength up for that one body part. But I wouldn't train strength for more than 6 weeks. Because I think after that, you know, your body, you should be training you should be changing your training every 4 to 6 weeks anyway. Sort of, otherwise your body just becomes dependent on that routine you're actually doing. So it'd be good to change it up. And also as well, it's good to do, at the moment we're doing a lot of FST7, which is 7 sets of 12 with a 30-second rest. But we're doing that as a pre-exhaustion at the end of our session. So it's literally, we're pre-exhausting at the beginning of the session, or we're fatiguing at the end of the session with it. So we're not picking it as a routine in the middle. It's more at the beginning or the end, either to pre-exhaust or to completely fatigue. But that's a real good routine to go over. And a lot of the big bodybuilders at the moment are doing that. Is that actually Haney Rambots is the actual man for the FST7. And he's got the current Mr. Olympia, Phil Heath. He's doing a lot of FST7. So if it works for him, I'm sure it'll work for us.
I'll see you in the Olympia soon then.
Hopefully.
What do you say, Paul? What are your sort of goals in terms of bodybuilding? Do you ever want to compete and stuff, or are you just training for?
I thought about doing the seniors, or like, you know, the over 40s. And cousin was trying to get me involved in that, but this year I've been hit with injuries, so that's put the mockers on that. But for me, I've got to maintain at the moment. But strategy that I'm going to be coming this year, I'll set a target next year. Try and put on, I don't know, 7 pounds of good muscle, because I'm training natty, that's quite hard. So and I tend to be quite lean. But symmetry's good, but I've got to get my legs coming up, and I know I've got some weak spots. But really, just my own goal is just to look better than Mr. Average and have that sort of athletic demeanour. I just want to step it up a little bit, but I've just been hit with injuries, so that's pretty good.
What's in terms of you saying obviously you're a natural bodybuilder, for people training bodybuilding naturally or anything else, strength training or whatever, have you got any specific tips as such in terms of, I mean, how much extra nutrition do you take, how many supplements and things?
I'll keep the supplements easy because there's so much rubbish out there, so I'll keep I'll make the protein higher,
yeah.
but not too high because you'll just excrete it. I'll supplement with B vitamins, vitamin D, keep my oils up in there as well. You've got to have your essential fats for sure. I'll use creatine and I'll use glutamine. Sounds a lot, but it's not, it's quite basic. So I'll just try and keep as anabolic as I can as well. So that's my main sort of way. So you eat that way, but more than that, I think it's a mental attitude when you're training naturally. You've got to, you're not going to recover as well than if you're assisted. Yeah. I've got no issues with that at all. It's just you have to try and get every little incremental gain just right. So you have to be on point more, maybe. So I think people can get lazy with that. I think the only thing is that moving the weight is one part of it. For me, it starts there first, then your diet and strategy, and then applying that, and then of course resting.
How much protein should people take in at any one go? You said that obviously it gets excreted. How many grams of protein?
Me personally, I can't handle any more than about 30 grams at a time.
Yeah,
maybe even less.
I take up to 50.
Yeah,
I can actually eat a bit more, so I can take up to 50. But anything over 50, you store as fat. Yeah. So it's not. Yeah. Don't think if you eat 4 whole chickens in one meal and then miss the next 6 meals, it averages out throughout the day. Yeah. It doesn't. It's all time released. Right. So it's not. The best way to explain it is if you're starting a fire and you throw all the wood into the fire, you're going to be really warm for 2-3 hours. Yeah. And then when it's all gone, you've got nothing. Where if you just keep putting little bits in throughout the whole day, you stay constant. And that's the only way to do it. I mean, some protein shakes give you 70, 80 grams of protein in one go, but that's different because it's liquid and it's whey protein. You're sort of almost digesting it immediately. But as far as solid food, I never go above 50. 40 to 50 is probably what most people would eat. But again, depending on your body weight. Someone that's 8 stone wouldn't be eating as much as someone that's 17, 18 stone. Yeah. So again, it's pretty much sort of your body weight is the go by.
And on average now at the moment, how many carbs are you eating a day and stuff like that?
I try to keep my meals at about 40 grams of carbs. Right. I'd go 50 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbs, and between 10 and 15 grams of fat because I'm not dieting at the moment. Yeah. I start dieting.
So what are you maxing out at 300 grams of carbs?
Yeah, about 300 grams of carbs. But then when next few weeks when I'm starting to cut down for a show, then that suddenly starts to get chopped quite heavily. Yeah. You know, but it's at the moment, I'm sticking to about 40 grams of carbs at the moment. Basic stuff, you know, potatoes, sweet potatoes, not so much bread. I'm not really a bread fan, and pasta. To be honest with you, I think pasta is a very starchy carb. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's a very starchy carb. Yeah. Stick to your sort of like basmati or long grain rice, sweet potato, jacket potato, them sort of carbs are really good. Couscous, quinoa.
People have to experiment with it because nutrition, again, everyone's different. For example, me, I can't tolerate a lot of wheat and I have to get IBS. Yep. And a lot of people coming into it young, they miss the whole link about feeding, and you know, they miss that whole link about nutrition. So they're only doing half the game. And I think the sadness is the young guys want to come in and do it quickly, the most expedient route, but they're getting a lot of anecdotal rubbish information third hand and training, and just coming in 50% equipped to do what they want to do, and then wonder why they plateau very early. Even though the knowledge base is far superior than, say, when we were knocking around in the 90s and the 80s. It was all, you know, we learned off people by asking, but the knowledge is out there for everybody, but people seem to be, unless they're really good, and there are good physiques, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of lazy trainers, is what I say.
Yeah. All right, then. I'm going to get on with training. Thanks, guys. That was fantastic. Good luck.